had three major mentors. Uh, and by mentors, I mean like you're in a place in your journey, and you kind of like you feel like you're a standstill, but you know that there's a door to go through to the next level, but you
Right.
can't find the door,
Yeah.
and then there's people that will show you the door. Some of
Mm.
them uh they do it by example most of the time, the best time. And I would say Frankie Banali when I started playing with him in 1972, he had already been at a level which I aspired to. So he was like my first mentor, teaching me about how to be part of the rhythm section, how to play with
Mm.
the drummer, how to play rock. Because I was playing mainly Latinized rock and roll. Because
Okay.
that's where I grew up and playing with Latin musicians
Cuban
who
roots,
also
right?
sang Cuban roots. Yeah,
Nice.
and these were newly arrived Cubans,
Okay.
fresh, fresh off the boat.
Yeah. With all the culture, so probably playing Cuban music and you name it, right?
Well, I grew up listening to Cuban music, but not playing because I was very young and I didn't
Okay.
have an instrument. It wasn't until, but then once you start playing rock and roll for the Cuban community, they want to dance.
Right.
So you start incorporating percussion, because that's will guarantee that people will dance to that. And so when I started playing with Frankie, he taught me how to do how to play rock and roll, but the British invasion version of
Mm.
it, which is basically rooted in Little Richard,
Right.
early roots of rock and roll. Little Richard, Chuck Berry, that's Jerry Lee Lewis and some Elvis, But I say some because Elvis was not really known for playing an instrument, and I'm talking about the instrumental feel of playing the bass, which is
Right.
basically the extension of Little Richard's left hand playing the bass on the piano. Dun,
Right.
dun, 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 and
That's
then
true.
by then, yeah, and then by then I had James Jimerson and Paul McCartney. I mean, McCartney was not the original bass player in the Beatles. It was Stu Sutcliffe, and then Stu left the band, and nobody wanted to play bass. So, and McCartney was playing keyboards. And
Okay.
one thing that's interesting, being left-handed, when you play keyboard, see, there's not a left-handed piano.
Right.
It's one piano. If you have to be left-handed, well, it's the same thing. It's one piano, right? So he developed being a lot of strength on his left hand and
Mm.
a lot of like rhythm, ten, 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 right? So when you replace the bass left, his pick hand
Oh,
is actually the hand that plays ten, 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 ten,
right. So we can just
right?
switch
So
it.
he developed
Yeah.
that. He developed that feel, and the right
Wow.
and the fretting hand was the right hand. So a a left-handed musician that plays a string instrument that comes from piano has that advantage. You're
Wow.
using this hand to be melodic, which is the same thing as your right hand on the piano. That's one of the things that I think really helped McCartney to be so melodic and so rhythmic, to be able to take all of those elements that he already knew from playing rock and roll on the piano, rock and roll
Yeah.
piano,
And to be
you
able
know.
to sort of
And
transfer it.
also, yeah, exactly. That's what he did. That's the best word, transfer. He transferred that knowledge into the bass and into the perception of playing the instrument within the Beatles. He changed everything, him and James Jimerson.